My wealthy neighbor tried to buy my family's land for pennies, snarling. Your kind should be grateful for any offer from someone like me. When we refused, he pulled strings to get our permits revoked, laughing. You'll have to sell now. His jaw dropped when the governor announced. This land has just been declared a historic site, and he's under investigation for corruption. Our family has owned a modest bed and breakfast in Charleston, South Carolina, for generations. The house, a classic Charleston single, has been in our family for over a century. We take pride in offering guests a warm, homey experience that reflects the rich history of our city. A few months ago, a new neighbor moved into the grand mansion next door. His name is Richard Langley, a wealthy real estate developer known for his aggressive tactics. From the moment he arrived, he made it clear that he had big plans for the neighborhood. One afternoon, as I was tending to the garden, Mr. Langley approached me. He was impeccably dressed, exuding an air of confidence that bordered on arrogance. Good afternoon, he greeted, flashing a practiced smile. I've been admiring your property. I'd like to discuss the possibility of purchasing it. I was taken aback. Thank you for your interest, Mr. Langley, but this house has been in my family for generations. It's not for sale. He chuckled softly, as if amused by my response. I understand sentimental attachments, but everything has a price. I'm prepared to offer you $100,000. I couldn't help but feel insulted. Mr. Langley, with all due respect, that's far below the market value. More importantly, this isn't just a property to us, it's our home and livelihood. His smile faded, replaced by a cold, steely gaze. Your kind should be grateful for any offer from someone like me. I felt a surge of anger but maintained my composure. Please leave, Mr. Langley. We're not interested in selling. He leaned in slightly, lowering his voice. You'll regret this decision. A week later, we received a notice from the city. Our bed and breakfast permit had been revoked due to alleged zoning violations. We were baffled. We had always complied with all regulations and had never faced any issues before. Determined to resolve the matter, I visited the Charleston Zoning and Planning Department. After waiting for hours, I finally met with an official who informed me that a complaint had been filed against us, citing multiple infractions. This doesn't make sense, I protested. We've always adhered to the rules. Who filed the complaint? The official hesitated before replying. I'm not at liberty to disclose that information. Frustrated and suspicious, I couldn't shake the feeling that Mr. Langley was behind this. I decided to confront him directly. The next day, I approached his mansion and rang the doorbell. A butler answered and led me to his study. Mr. Langley was seated behind a massive mahogany desk, a smug expression on his face. Ah, Mrs. Thompson, he greeted, feigning surprise. To what do I owe the pleasure? You know exactly why I'm here, I replied, struggling to keep my voice steady. Did you have anything to do with our permit being revoked? He leaned back in his chair, steepling his fingers. Now, why would I do something like that? Because we refused your offer, I accused. You're trying to force us out. He stood up, walking around the desk to face me. Prove it, he challenged, a sinister smile playing on his lips. I left his house seething, determined not to let him win. That evening, my husband and I brainstormed ways to fight back. We decided to delve into the history of our property, hoping to find something that could help our cause. After days of research at the local archives, we discovered that our home had been a meeting place for civil rights activists in the 1960s. This revelation gave us an idea. If we could get our property designated as a historic site, it would be protected from developers like Langley. We reached out to the Preservation Society of Charleston and the South Carolina Department of Archives and History to begin the process. The journey was arduous, involving extensive documentation and multiple hearings. Throughout it all, Langley continued to exert his influence, attempting to derail our efforts at every turn. Despite the obstacles, we garnered support from the community. Former activists came forward to share their stories, and local media picked up our cause, bringing much-needed attention to our plight. After months of perseverance, we received a letter from the National Park Service. Our property had been added to the National Register of Historic Places. This designation not only reinstated our permit but also ensured that our home would be preserved for future generations. The victory was sweet, but the battle had taken its toll. We had stood up to a powerful adversary and emerged victorious, proving that determination and community support could overcome even the most formidable challenges. The celebration didn't last long. 2 weeks after we got the historic site designation, someone threw a brick through our front window in the middle of the night. No note, no warning. Just shattered glass everywhere and a deep, cold silence outside. The cops came, wrote a report, and left. No suspects. I asked about camera footage from a neighbor down the street, but their system had, mysteriously, gone offline that night. Langley didn't say a word. But when I saw him outside trimming his hedges the next morning, he gave me a slow clap. He didn't smile. He didn't speak. Just stared me down like he was daring me to say something. I didn't. But I wanted to. Things got worse. One morning, guests showed up at our door, angry and confused. Their online bookings had been cancelled and refund notices were sent. But we never cancelled anything. I checked our booking system, locked out. Password changed, email erased. Someone hacked us. We had to shut down reservations until we could fix it. Lost money. Lost trust. One of our longtime guests, an older couple from Minnesota, promised to come back once it was safe again. That one hurt. Then, building inspectors came by. Again. They claimed someone filed complaints about cracks in the foundation and unsafe wiring. We had to pause operations. For the third time, in just a few months, our home and livelihood were under attack. The inspections dragged out, and so did the bills. This wasn't just sabotage, it was a full-blown siege. Mark and I didn't sleep well. I was up every night, scrolling through property law forums, emailing preservation groups, trying to find loopholes Langley might be using. Nothing was illegal enough to stick, but all of it felt intentional. He wasn't trying to take us to court. He was trying to break us down piece by piece, from the outside in. We started noticing strange cars parked across the street for hours. Same car. Different plates every few days. I started keeping a notebook, times, descriptions, plates, faces. I wasn't sure what I was writing it for, but I couldn't shake the feeling we were being watched. Then the biggest blow came, the bank called. A sudden reassessment on our mortgage. Higher rates. Increased insurance. Risk factors. We were being financially squeezed from all sides. I asked the banker, point blank, if Langley had anything to do with it. She wouldn't say. Just said, "Some people have influence." We were backed into a corner. That night I snapped. I told Mark I was going to find something, anything, on Langley. Something that would make him wish he'd never touched our land. I didn't care how long it took. I started digging into public records. Property transfers, company filings, lawsuits. I found something odd. A company registered in Nevada. Kensington Development Group. Completely separate name, but it had Langley's signature on a transfer document filed in Charleston County. I kept going. Turned out, Langley used shell companies to buy land around the city, then tanked property values by pulling permits, filing complaints, or tying neighbors up in legal red tape. Then, he'd come in with a low offer, just like he did to us. He'd done it 6 times before. 3 ended in foreclosure. 2 turned into lawsuits that magically disappeared. 1 was still in court, but going nowhere because the plaintiff had no legal support. I printed everything. Hundreds of pages. Emails, filings, building complaints. I found a woman in Beaufort who had almost lost her farm because of him. We talked. She cried. I recorded it, with her permission. I wasn't just fighting for my land anymore. I was going after Langley for every person he ever tried to steamroll. But I needed more, something bigger. Something that would shake the ground under his $1,000 shoes. Then came the break. A contractor who worked on Langley's mansion called me out of the blue. Said he heard what happened and wanted to help. I saw what he did with the permits, he told me. I helped build the hidden wall in his basement office. The one where he keeps the real paperwork. I asked why he was coming forward now. He stiffed me on the final payment, he said. And I got a sick kid. I got nothing to lose. We made a plan. What came next? Let's just say it started a chain of events that shook this city to the core. But I'll save that for the next part, because what happened after that night changed everything. And Langley? He had no idea the storm that was coming. 2 nights after the contractor and I spoke, I got a message slipped under our front door. No envelope. Just a folded piece of paper. It read, "I know what you're doing. Stop digging." That was it. No name. No signature. Just that. Mark and I checked every lock, every window. We installed security cameras the next day. I didn't tell the contractor. I didn't want to spook him. But something about that note didn't feel like a threat from Langley. It felt rushed. Panicked. And then it clicked. Someone else was watching us, too. I went back to digging. I found more than I expected. Langley had a silent partner, someone tied to a former Charleston city councilman who'd mysteriously resigned 2 years ago. That same councilman had signed off on zoning changes around Langley's developments before stepping down. There were payouts hidden in consulting fees, routed through shell companies. I started cross-referencing permit records, old council minutes, and campaign donations. That's when the dots connected. The revoked permit for our B&B had the signature of a city planning officer who hadn't worked there in over a year. Someone had forged it. This wasn't just a vendetta. It was a full-blown corruption ring. Langley wasn't just pressuring us, he was part of a network that had been manipulating real estate for years. The more I pulled, the more it stank. But I needed proof. Real proof. The contractor came through again. He told me he had access to the mansion's blueprints and could get into the hidden wall in the basement office when Langley was away for a business trip. I hesitated, but we both knew this was the only way. He went in at 2 a.m. 2 nights later. By 3:30, he sent me a photo. Then another. Then a PDF scan. Stacks of envelopes, bank statements, signed contracts between shell companies, and a folder labeled Strategic Acquisitions, Priority Demolish List. Our house was on that list, highlighted in red. Underneath it, in the margin, someone had written, "Push City harder. Block permit. Break them." We had enough. I compiled everything. The documents, the forged signature, the recorded interview from the woman in Beaufort, even the hacked booking system logs that my cousin, a retired IT guy, managed to recover. I sent it all anonymously to the local newspaper and a state investigator. I thought that would be it. I thought the system would do its job now. Then our power went out. Not just a blown fuse, the main line had been cut. The next morning, a dead rat was nailed to our front porch with another note. "You want war? You got it." That same day, the contractor vanished. His phone went straight to voicemail. His place was cleared out. I drove by, nothing. Gone. No warning. No sign of a struggle. Just gone. I called his wife. She said he left, on business, and wouldn't be back for a while. But I could hear it in her voice, she was scared. And then the worst hit. My younger brother, who lived in Asheville, called me in a panic. "Cops came by. Said I was part of some fraud case tied to you." They tried to scare him, dig into his finances. Someone had tipped them off with fake documents, trying to tie him to fake companies Langley had used. Langley was trying to discredit my whole family. One by one. I wanted to fight back publicly, but our lawyer told us to wait. "They're trying to bait you into making a mistake," he warned. "Let them move first. We've already submitted your evidence to the State Ethics Board. They're digging now." But waiting felt like torture. Every day I woke up expecting something else to fall apart: a water main, a legal letter, A new fake inspection. Then came the final twist. Langley's name disappeared from the property records. Gone. All his Charleston properties had been transferred, every single one, to a company based in the Cayman Islands. Different name. No digital paper trail. His house, too, transferred to the same offshore trust. That's when I realized he knew the investigation was closing in. He was disappearing piece by piece before the storm hit. But I still had one card to play. A big one. Because I hadn't sent all the evidence yet. I had held one piece back, something the contractor had found at the very bottom of that basement wall stash. A USB drive. Password protected. But my cousin cracked it. Inside? Videos. Meetings. Conversations. Langley talking openly to that former councilman about clearing the trash from certain neighborhoods. Laughing about how easy it was to manipulate zoning rules. One clip had him pointing to a satellite map with our house circled in red. That drive was the key. And I hadn't sent it to anyone yet. I was waiting, because I wanted to make sure when it dropped, there was no way out for any of them. Langley thought he had pulled every string. But he hadn't counted on me learning how to tie my own. The morning I dropped the USB drive off, I wore gloves. Walked into the state prosecutor's office with it in a plain manila envelope. I didn't give my name. I didn't wait to talk to anyone. I just left it at the front desk with a sticky note. This is what you missed. Check the dates. Then I walked out and sat in my car, watching the building like it was the final move in a long, slow game. 3 days passed. Nothing in the news. No calls. No emails. Just quiet. Then everything hit at once. Breaking news. First on the local channels. Then national. Major real estate developer under investigation for corruption and fraud. Langley's smug face plastered on every screen. FBI agents raiding his mansion. Helicopters. Reporters. Boxes carried out. Crime scene tape around a house that used to scream wealth and power. And then they found the contractor. He wasn't dead. He wasn't missing. He was hiding, with help. The governor's office stepped in. They gave him whistleblower protection. He had been threatened. They gave his family new IDs. New home. Safe. He came forward and verified everything I had handed over. The recordings. The forged permits. The video clips. All of it lined up. Langley's former partner, the ex-councilman, was arrested. Turns out, he'd been laundering money through real estate deals, passing envelopes at campaign dinners, hiding behind development grants. A dozen city officials were implicated. Some resigned. Some were indicted. Langley tried to run. Made it as far as Miami before the marshals caught him at a private airfield. He was trying to board a jet registered under the Cayman company that now owned all his properties. He didn't make it. Watching the footage of him being led away in cuffs was the first time I felt like I could breathe in months. But here's the part one didn't expect, the part that still stings. In the middle of all this, reporters started digging into everyone connected to the case. Including me. Someone published emails I'd sent years ago, angry ones, emotional ones, from when we were first losing the business. I had made mistakes. Said things online in the heat of the moment. Accused the wrong people before I had proof. One city worker, whose name I'd posted, had to take leave because of threats he got. He wasn't guilty. I thought he was. I was wrong. I called him. I apologized. He didn't yell. He just said, "I wish you'd asked first." That part stuck. Because as much as Langley deserved everything coming to him, I saw what vengeance cost. I lost friends. I burned bridges. I let my obsession with taking him down consume every hour of my life. Mark and I barely spoke some days. My brother still won't come visit. Says he's proud of me, but things feel different now. He's quieter. More careful. Langley's trial is set for next spring. He's facing over 20 charges: fraud, conspiracy, bribery, racketeering. He'll be lucky if he sees daylight again. Our land? It's safe now. The B&B is running again. Guests return, some curious about the house that survived a scandal. We added a little history wall in the entryway. Not just about the civil rights meetings that once took place there, but about what happened after. About how far people will go to destroy, and how far others will go to hold on. Some days I wonder if I'd do it all again. The digging. The fights. The fear. The truth? Probably. But I'd do it smarter. Slower. With less fire and more focus. I got revenge. Real, scorched earth revenge. But the ashes blow both ways.